Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuhu. Anjaran Bandorabe, Isandimion, Fulbe Fi Dunya. So, it's been a while since I've been on the channel, but I intend to be on the channel more and post more things because of the simple fact that consistency is key. But what I wanted to post was just kind of a reminder to me and a reminder to all of us about, the times we're living in, the choices we make, the consequences of the choices we make. Although this video is not going to be popular with the order of the day, I'm just going to say it for the simple fact that, I'm inspired to basically say it. I don't know what's inspiring me to say it, but it was just something that just came to my mind basically. So when I was reading on Facebook, I saw something that really interested me. And it was a post called The Crimes of Passion, the Sins of the Private Parts and Their Cure. And this post was done by a sheikh by the name of Mohammed Sharif ibn Farid, but the original posts and the information came from a Fulbe Torodbe scholar. And this scholar is actually the brother of Sheikh Uthman ibn Fuduye. Okay? And so I'm going to go on into the post and what it says. And then I'm just going to kind of reflect on it outside of the post. So what the post says is that there are 4 prohibitions from the private parts. 1 is homosexuality. 2 is fornication and adultery. 3 is anal sex. And 4 is masturbation. Okay? And so what he said as cures to these things is that he said, first and foremost, you can fast. And, the sunnah of fasting that Nelados alayhi salatu salam did was that he did it Monday and Thursday. And the fasting actually benefits you because it lowers the passions, And so another way you can do it basically is that you can also read the Surah Falak in the Quran, and you can also recite the Surah Tariq as well. And another thing too is that although it's so hard to do, it's very, very hard to do, you can lower your gaze and try not to stare at women, because although, women are one of the, if not the most beautiful thing that God created on this earth, the temptation is real. So when I read all of these things, I kind of reflected on a couple of things. And let's go back to the fasting. I reflected on the fasting because of the simple fact that there's 2 benefits in it. 1, you lower your desires, 2, it's a natural detox. If you fast like just 2 days out the week, you can actually feel your stomach and feel your system resetting itself, you know? Because if you're eating all the time, you're going to be in a way, your body needs a rest, you know? You can't just be stuffing yourself silly. Your body needs time to, you know, kind of reset itself. Otherwise, you're just going to be sluggish as hell. So that's one of the benefits. And then another thing I noticed about the prohibitions of the private parts is that you look at things that are going on in the world today and you realize the reason why Uthman Dan Fodio's brother, whose name is Abdullahi, you realize that Abdullahi was not just speaking to just speak, that there was something behind it. Because let's take the first prohibition from the private parts, for example, homosexuality. What do we see going on today? You know, we see, you know, because of homosexuality, diseases are spread. You know, I've even heard the story from someone that, you know, because this person was living double life, that he gave his girlfriend sexual disease because at the same time he was with his girlfriend, he was messing with other men. So there's a reason, there's a wisdom behind us not doing these things, you know? And, you know, when you think about it, homosexuality is very un-African and especially un-Fulani. Let's just be honest. We can look in our history and there's no history of homosexuality with us. Now, number 2, fornication and adultery. Now, if you live in the West, you live in a culture that is sexually promiscuous. You know, you see that saying that, hey, sex sells, you know, do what you want and what have you. The only problem about that is the consequences that come with that. Let's give an example that we see a lot of here in the West. Single parent households. Because someone decided, or let's just say 2 people decided, hey, let's lay down together, no problem. All of a sudden, a kid comes out of that. Then the people realize, maybe one of them realizes, oh, they're not ready to take care of a kid. And because they're not ready to take care of a kid, they leave that kid behind. And that kid is made to suffer for something he had no control over. You know, that kid had no control over being born or not. And so that kid may grow up and, you know, have problems of his own, which basically leads to more corruption in the society. So that's just one example. The second example I can name is the fact that, and this is a deep one, I had to really think about this one for a little while. When you lay down with someone, it's not just purely a physical thing. Like, it's a spiritual experience. If you just limit it to the physical, then you're missing the whole point. And so, you know, the object of like sex is not only pleasure, but it's unity. You know, it's male and female united together. You know, masculine energy and feminine energy to become one thing. And you just going around putting your fluids in any and everything moving, then you kind of become like just fulfilling your animal desires. And you know, the result of that is usually not good. So that's the thing. You should want to be selective with who you lie down with. Preferably, it should be your wife. No way around it, you know? But hey, you know, some people just accept just laying down with anybody. And I can only speak for myself that I'm not one of them, man. Even if that makes me the most uncool person, hey, I'm comfortable being the most uncool person. That's fine by me. You know, it's just that you can't, it's not a good idea just to go around and just put your seed everywhere and just spread your seed everywhere. That's not a good idea at all. And I mean, it just causes a lot of trouble. It causes a lot of corruption in the society, basically. And we see this playing out right before our very eyes. And then another thing is anal sex. I mean, let's just be honest. There's nothing really natural about anal sex. I'm sorry to say it, but there's nothing that, I mean, I can't see anything good coming out of that. That thing that thing looks painful. You know, like why would you want to do that in your right mind? Like what would possess you to do something like that, you know? Like, I mean, come on now. Like, in fact, you're just making it harder, like, to enjoy sex by doing that. Like, you're just making it that much more difficult. And so why would you want to do that when sex is supposed to be something relaxing, something that is supposed to be like relieve stress, something that's supposed to like give you more boost of strength and other things like that? So why would you want to put yourself in that situation, basically? You know? And plus, let's be honest, why would you want to go through the trouble of even trying to penetrate there? Because from what you hear on TV and stuff, there's a lot of trouble that goes into that. Now, the fourth and final thing that Abdullahi said was prohibited for the private parts: masturbation. Now, this one is kind of big for the simple fact that, you know, at times, you know, you're like, crap, what should I do? I can't be with a woman right now. I, you know, don't really have any more options. So, hey, why don't I just, you know, turn on a movie with some sexy scenes in it and just relieve it that way? But then there's a problem with that. And that problem is how addicting it is. it is extremely addicting. Because if you are to do it, what happens is it triggers things in your brain that give you like a temporary pleasure, but it's never satisfying, and you just always want it over and over and over again, to a point where it like basically becomes a priority for you. Like you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I gotta do this, you know? Oh, I gotta do this to feel just a little bit of pleasure, you know? And that's a problem, because then again, you're doing something unnatural. You know, this is a completely unnatural thing. You know, there's nothing that says, oh, yeah, you know, us as human beings are supposed to be doing it. It's only natural. There's nothing like that that says that, because you have to force the issue. That's the whole thing. You know, now if you're married with a wife, I can see that. You know, you guys have to keep things exciting, you know, in the marriage. But other than that, you know, someone told me it's like a drug. Your brain is on drugs when you do it, you know, and once you get that feeling out of you, you know, your brain feels like it's lost in a temporary pleasure zone. But now that I look at these things that Abdullahi recommended for us, you know, I say, hey, you know, this advice is practical, but it really, I mean, if we put these into practice, I mean, you can see that it would be like benefit, you know, like complete benefit. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're difficult not to do, but it's just basically Gino trying to protect us, you know. Because if we were to do all of these things, you know, and indulge in all of these things, it's not going to be healthy for us. It's not going to be healthy for our body. It's not going to be healthy for our soul. It's not going to be healthy even for our mind, you know. So that's all I wanted to really talk about. And Siala Jabi, I will have more videos. I will get some more guest speakers on here, and we will like do more videos about our scholars, our history, and the like thereof. Siala Jabi, I'm going to start vlogging soon, so I'll have pictures and videos of my trips back home to Futatoro, back home to Gabu, back home to, you know, the major Fulani centers, basically. And I want to thank you for tuning in, Yo Ala Barka, and like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. Njarama.